Who had a baby in space? A weight loss treatment with unusual side effects. A translated work following 5 creatures. The history of flowers and how they've changed humans and the world. A deep dive into the words we use for colors. And a narrative history of the place very close to the one I used to call home. I'm Veronica, and these are 5 books plus 1 that I'm excited for, being published in March 2026. First is Nobody's Baby by Olivia Waite, published by Tor, 112 pages. This is the second in a cozy sci-fi mystery series that's described as Becky Chambers meets Miss Marple and compared to Dorothy Sayers and Anne Leckie. On the luxurious interstellar passenger liner, the HMS Fairweather, room and board are covered. New bodies can be provided, and passengers can rest in between lifetimes with their minds preserved in glass in the library. Amidst these conditions, a baby appears on the doorstep of the nephew of ship detective Dorothy Gentleman. The only catch? Fertility is supposed to be on hold during the journey. It's up to Dorothy, a no-nonsense auntie of a detective, to discover who broke the rules and produce this child and then abandoned him, as well as prevent a rival detective who exclusively follows the letter of the law from classifying the child as either a stowaway or a piece of luggage. The publisher says this well-paced story will leave readers captivated and hungry for the next installment. This is the second in a series, so I'll probably pick up the first one and see if I like it, but the idea of a combination of sci-fi and cozy mystery has me hooked. Think of the possibilities of being able to replace your body or give your brain a rest. And really, who's out there making babies in space? Can you give birth in space? Wouldn't that require gravity? So now I'm overthinking this a little bit. The book will be available on March 10th. Next is Nothing Tastes as Good by Mark Dumas, or Dumas, not sure if he's related to Alexander, published by Atria Books, 352 pages. Okay, I don't know if this is supposed to be straight horror or horror satire, because I laughed when I read the description. Nothing Tastes as Good centers on retail worker Emmett Truesdale, who at 300 pounds and carrying the weight of childhood trauma has never conformed to the six-pack clad, suntanned version of Southern California masculinity that surrounds him. After trying every diet and still feeling stuck in his career, in love, and in his body, he signs up for a clinical trial for a new weight loss treatment called Obexity. The results are miraculous, and as Emmett rapidly loses weight, all of the other areas of his life begin to improve too. However, the side effects are another story, and Emmett experiences lost stretches of time and overwhelming cravings, and people who were previously cruel to him start to disappear. Then the police warn of a cannibalistic killer, and Emmett can't help but start to wonder if the treatment is beginning to turn him into a monster. The publisher says this unputdownable thriller combines the substance with the best of Stephen King and keeps you guessing until the final page. Imagine taking a weight loss drug only to end up a cannibal. Is this story a satirical commentary on how eager we all are to mold ourselves to beauty conventions, no matter the consequences? Is it a premonition of what may come with long-term dependence on these types of treatments? Or is it just a simple horror story about someone who, unbeknownst to them, has become a cannibal? I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. Sink your teeth into this one on March 31st. My next pick is Only a Little While Here by María Ospina, translated by Heather Cleary, published by Scribner, 256 pages. I'm not quite sure how to describe this novel, so I'm just going to read the publisher description. In Only a Little While Here, María Ospina evokes the gratification to be found through close, humble observation of nature, training our attention on the lives of 5 creatures: a migratory songbird dazzled by city lights, an orphaned porcupine saved by kindness, 2 dogs grieving the loss of their human companions, and a determined beetle transported to a vast, unimaginable world. The surprising drama of their lives reveals the fragility and power of belonging and what it means to create or lose a home. Along the way, our narrator models the attentiveness needed to mend the rift between humans and non-human creatures, and celebrates animals' often overlooked status as witnesses of our shared world. Alive with eagle-eyed curiosity, Only a Little While Here is ecological fiction at its most soul-stirring. I'll be honest, I don't really understand what all of that means, but it has me intrigued. The novel also won the Colombian National Novel Award and the Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz Prize for Literature, which are some serious accolades. Add to this the fact that the novel was originally written in Spanish, which means I can use it for my language learning purposes, and you can guarantee this will be on my library holds list. The English translation will be on shelves on March 31st. My first nonfiction pick is How Flowers Made Our World, The Story of Nature's Revolutionaries, by David George Haskell, published by Viking, 336 pages. Confession, I'm a weirdo who almost always hates the smell of flowers. Honestly, I think I'm a highly sensitive person, at least in the physical sense. Emotionally, I identify with Murderbot to a dangerous degree. I do like the way flowers look though, and this nonfiction exploration of how flowers change the world equally caught my eye. According to this book, flowers aren't getting the credit they deserve. We admire them only for how they look, but not how they've remade the natural world. Haskell aims to change this in his observations and studies of both well-known flowers like roses, magnolias, and orchids, and of lesser-known flowers like seagrasses. And I don't even know what those are. According to this book, humans would not exist without flowers. We use them for their beauty and scent and cultural rituals, but we are also dependent on them for food and habitats. The publisher says, How Flowers Made Our World combines lyrical writing, sensual exploration, and scientific expertise to explore some of the most consequential life forms ever to have evolved, showing how our planet came to be and how it thrives today. A bold claim for something that we just tend to think of as pretty, but it wouldn't be the first time history focused so much on aesthetic value that it overlooked something's true value. This paper bouquet is sprouting on March 24th. Okay, I'm super excited for this next one. True Color, The Strange and Spectacular Quest to Define Color, From Azure to Zinc Pink, by Kory Stamper, published by Knopf, 320 pages. This one is for all of my fellow word nerds and those of us who have highly functioning cones in our eyes. Sorry if you're colorblind, but not sorry. The publisher calls this work of nonfiction a kaleidoscopic journey through the secret history of hues and the story of the obsessive genius behind the definitions of colors we use today. Kory Stamper has written for Merriam-Webster, Cambridge Dictionaries, and Dictionary.com for nearly 30 years, and during her editing work, found herself drawn to the whimsical color definitions in Webster's third New International Dictionary, and wondered who the voice behind these definitions was. This was I.H. Godlove, a scientist hired by Merriam-Webster in 1930 to help the dictionary reflect the modernizing world, and whose life reflects the wild and winding journey that color science, color psychology, and color production took throughout the 20th century. Stamper tracks these industries over time while offering beguiling facts about both color words and colors themselves. Apparently the word puke once referred to a highly fashionable color. I'm afraid to Google what that was. As someone who loves delving into the origins of words and also loves color, I love playing a good game of color puzzle. This is right up my alley. I'm ridiculously excited for this one. and I hope it doesn't disappoint. Available on March 31st. All right, my bonus sixth pick for this month is El Paso, 5 Families and 100 Years of Blood, Migration, Race, and Memory by Jazmine Ulloa, published by Dutton, 352 pages. I'm including this extra book of social science because while I don't know how many people may be interested in it in general, it has a personal significance and I couldn't overlook it. You see, I went to high school in Las Cruces, New Mexico, which is very close to El Paso. El Paso is the airport I flew into to visit friends and family, and that gecko carpet is iconic. El Paso had a Target way before Las Cruces did, and El Paso was the neighboring city to Fort Bliss, which is where we went when we had a medical condition requiring more care than the clinic we had on the base where we lived could offer. Yes, we were military, and yes, I can speak English really well because it's my native language. New Mexico is a state. This is a part of the country that people pretty much ignore. The publisher calls it a place often misunderstood or forgotten by the rest of the country and the world, unless it's in the news due to immigration, violence, or drugs. In this book, Ulloa uses research and reporting to tell the history of this Texas city, called the Ellis Island of America's southern border, through 5 families, covering the Mexican Revolution, the Mexican repatriation, the change in immigration laws under different presidents, and the violence brought on by drug wars. The publisher goes on to call the book a brave new work of narrative nonfiction that gives new voice and perspective to history that has long been checked at the border or told through the lens of white men alone. I am here for that. The book will be out on March 3rd. That's all the books for today. What new reads are you excited for? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next video.